My name is Jeremy Whitney, and I know most of you have heard my story before, and just like you, I couldn't believe everything that happened on my journey as well. But for those of you that don't know, let me take you back to my senior year in high school where everything started. I was born to two athletes. My dad was a local football legend who couldn't really fulfill his dreams due to a crazy knee injury. My mom was a hooper who couldn't fulfill her dreams due to me and my dad. If you don't understand what I'm saying, basically my mom got pregnant before graduating high school, which meant she had to pass on her scholarship to play basketball and decided to take care of me. Shortly after that, my dad blew out his knee and joined the workforce, to take care of me. I owe my folks a lot because they sacrificed a lot for me and they didn't really have to. But with my dad being a legend in our city, I was always reminded of how awesome he was on the field, and the stories I would hear in the barbershop seemed unbelievable, which led to me wanting to play as well. The glory days stories that I heard about my moms and pops used to keep me up at night, wanting to be just like them, and that was my motivation. But all those dreams turned to nightmares for me on the field. All the way up to now, I was a second string running back, and it was looking like playtime was never going to come for me until the first string running back transferred schools, which meant it was my time to shine. But there was one problem, or should I say one huge problem, and that was my weight. Started my senior year, I was 6'1", 279 pounds. I was the heaviest player on the team, but I wasn't just big, I was super strong too. That was one thing about my dad that I loved. He kept me in the gym and he kept helping me get stronger and stronger every day. Now, all the other positions was filled, and to the dismay of my head coach, I had to play running back. Think about it. I knew all the plays, all the calls, and everything needed for the position. And with my experience in the backfield, coach said it was just easier to keep me there than to train someone else to learn it in such a short amount of time. But I was ready. No one else was, but I was ready. Coming in as a no-name recruit, 0 stars to my name meant that I could come out and play with free will. No one had any expectations for me but to hold on to the ball and run hard. I literally felt like a crash test dummy out there because I was getting abused. Coach had put me in on punt and kickoff return just so I could get the feel of running the ball, and it helped a little bit, but I was slow as dirt. I had no agility, but the way I figured if I ran hard enough and made it hard on the opposing team to take me down, eventually they would get tired of trying to hit me and the game would become easier. And it slowly did become easier because this next play, I was bouncing off of people left and right. Instead of feeling like a crash test dummy, at this point, I was feeling like a wrecking ball. And my team was hyped behind me, which just made me play even harder. And then the next play after that, coach puts the ball in my hands again. I make a quick move and I actually score again, man. The feeling that I have being in this end zone, like I said before, is just unmatched. At this point, I don't know if I'm going to be the greatest of all time or if this is just a fluke. Later in the game, I had finally hit my stride. My coach was looking surprised that I had so much fight in me, and it was starting to look like I was proving him wrong, so he kept the ball in my hands. And when I tell you, I wanted to score on that drive so bad that I started carrying defenders on my back when I was running, and this was a defining moment for me. We had gotten all the way down to the 21-yard line, and this was my moment. I found the gap in the defense, and somehow I found my way into the end zone for my first career touchdown. The feeling was so good, and I can't lie, I low-key got an addiction to that feeling. I knew I wanted more. I craved it. And at that moment, I knew no one on that field could stop me from getting back in there. My first time in the local newspapers, and I was on a natural high that I couldn't come down from. This was the beginning of something great for me and the team. If you would have told me a couple of years ago that my debut game as a starting running back, that I would let alone score, but rush for 150 plus yards, I would have laughed in your face. And I knew that this was going to be the start of something good for me, but I didn't expect it to turn out the way that it did. Game 2 against Oceanside, I came in with the same intensity from game 1. My first play, I was breaking tackles and moving down the field like a vet, even stumbling a little bit, but I caught my balance and I kept running. Look, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but some teams just aren't better than you, and you have to take advantage of that. This was one of those games where the opposite team just lays down and you roll over them. This was going to be my breakout game. I had to take advantage of the situation, especially if I wanted to move up in the rankings and get some scholarship offers. And I felt like I was definitely taking advantage of the situation I was put in. The coach is putting the ball in my hands. He's trusting me to lead this offense, and that's exactly what I do on this play right here as I score a touchdown. It's the third quarter now, and it's 3rd and 4. Coach is looking just to get a first down. Me, with my mentality at this point, I'm looking to score. The blocks are all there, and I do get to the end zone again, carrying another player on my back, just like I'm carrying this team. Fourth quarter, and the coach is putting the ball in my hands again. He's just looking to get a first down, right? Run some time off the clock, but I'm breaking tackles, stiff arming, getting back into the end zone, making the score 20-7, just to make sure we solidify this win and we move on to the next game. Like, I'm feeling hype right now at this point in my career. Nobody can stop us. We win this game, and now we need to move on. Next game against Covina, and look, they're not the best team, but coach is already out here running the cheese plays. He knows that the jet fake is what we need to do out of the Wildcat, and we are making a statement early on in this game. And listen, if the scouts are not looking at me, I don't know who is, but I'm actually showing out. Fast forward to the second quarter, the end of the second quarter. It's a 3rd and 2 right now, so close to the end zone. And at this point, the way I've been scoring and the way I'm moving on the field, people are expecting me to score, especially when we are this close to the end zone. Coach whispered in my ear and told me, hey, man, you have a chance to break a lot of records at this high school. And that's not something that's been on my mind. Honestly, I'm just trying to make sure that I provide what the coach needs. And if he's saying that I can break records, then I will try my best to do it as I score again. We are out here, and it's 24-6, and coach is really, I feel like he's just making a mockery of the team and the defense. They fall for the jet again, and your boy is scooting for another touchdown. The way I'm running out here on the field is making it look as if I'm actually fast, but I'm not, man. Almost at 280 pounds, I'm not moving like that. 6'1", I'm just throwing people off me. I'm really just a big bear out here. I guess bears do move fast now that I think about it. But again, so close to the end zone, we end up scoring again. This game was over when it started. That game, I rushed for 237 yards, recording 5 touchdowns. If I wasn't catching someone's eye after this game, I knew something was up. Luckily for me, I jumped from a nobody to a 3-star recruit, and colleges were looking my way. I finally started to get some letters of interest from the local colleges and universities. Some notable colleges were looking my way as well. I even had some schools go as far as to offer me a scholarship, and with it being so early in the season, I was shocked. Honestly, whoever was interested, I was interested as well. After finally being named a 3-star athlete, I knew the pressure was on even more for me to perform, so I had to lock in mentally to make sure I didn't lose that ranking. Considering all the hard work I had put in, it would be a shame to go backwards now. But this was when the schedule started to get rough for us. With all the notoriety in the local media, teams started to plan for me exclusively, and San Bruno was no slouch. The run game wasn't providing for us like it was in the previous games, so coach had to send me on routes to make sure we kept the chains moving so we could score. Not saying that we gave up on the run completely, but every time we tried to run the ball, it wouldn't produce. And again, there was no way I was going to lose my rep. Coach is putting the ball back in the air right now, and that's exactly what we need to make sure we score a touchdown. But there was one play that kept getting me in the end zone, and that was a jet fake out of the Wildcat formation that no one seemed to be able to stop, and I found my way back into the end zone. Just another cheese play by the coach, and I love it. But San Bruno scored immediately after that, so I know I had to come out and steamroll their defense to give my team a chance to rest. So coach decided to put the ball in my hand, run some clock down. Even if San Bruno was going to stop us, he wanted to make sure that we took enough time off the clock so that the defense can sit and make adjustments, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I said steamroll, and you see I'm doing that. But we put the ball back in the air. My speed is not going to get us in the end zone, but it is going to get us our first down. Coming back out here, and again, this close to the end zone, you can count on me. But San Bruno is so tough. Coach calls a hurry up because he knows that if I get another shot, I can get in there. And it's 4th and goal. If we turn the ball over, that will be demoralizing. But luckily, the line steps up and we get into the end zone. Coming back late in the second quarter. This quarter is not over yet. Shout out to the defense for getting us a stop on this one. It's 3rd and 1. Just looking for the first down. That's what the coach told me. But as you can see, I am scoring another touchdown, man. I am on everybody's radar. Not only the scouts, but the defensive scouts from the other team. Back on the field, draining the clock. Coach is not really looking to score, but I'm looking to stat pad. And you got to know, anytime somebody's in motion, I'm getting that ball. The whole right side is left open for me, and I get another first down. Again, coach said that the mission is just to run time off the clock. But me, I'm getting yards, and I know that in the back of my mind. Try not to focus on that right now, but how can you not? When the blocks are looking this good and it's that much field in front of you, why not score? Last play of this game, hopefully, right? But again, somebody's in motion. We ended up turning this game up. 35-7 is the score, and it's looking like I was going to get back into the end zone, but luckily I didn't. Man, the way San Bruno came out in the first quarter, I knew this was going to be a statement game for both teams. And luckily for us, we locked in and made sure that every team in the state knew we were the team to beat. This was not only a statement game for the team as a whole, but a statement game for me. Being a new 3-star athlete meant everything to me. And I wasn't going to be the reason my rep was gone, nor was I going to be the reason the team lost. We sent those guys home crying, and I put on another 230-yard performance. At that moment, I saw my full potential, and I knew there was no one out there that could stop us. Unfortunately, those dreams were quickly shot down by Placentia. Not only were they undefeated, this was yet another team that game planned exclusively for me to dominate on the ground, which meant we had to go back to the air. But when the passing game was getting shut down as well, I'm not going to lie, I started to panic. Nothing was working, and I didn't realize until that moment, but our offense was one-dimensional. It was almost as if I wasn't making a big play, there was no chance of us winning the game. Not only that, but it was dumb easy for the other team to spot that as well. It was like no matter what play we ran or how hard I went, the scoreboard was still 0-0. And then coach, he had to motivate me again on the sideline and let me know that yes, while they are stopping us, we cannot give up. And I just had to put my head down and keep running the ball as hard as I can. Even when plays were being broken up, the quarterback's not tapped in, we got to keep going. And that's exactly what we're going to do, man. Late in this second quarter, we're looking to make a move, and I just want to make sure that I keep giving us first downs. But then coach put us back in the Wildcat, and that's when we finally broke loose. When I called height and saw that they went for the fake and I only had one man to beat, I put my head down, I looked back up, and I was off to the races. That was one of the biggest runs I had all season. Then, not only that, we bounced back, and the rest of our team looked like they were locked in as well. My quarterback started throwing dots, even looking over at the sideline at my coach. The look in his eyes was scary. He was super locked in, and this is when I really fell in love with the game and competition. The coach called a pass play for me to score, and this was a momentous moment. The play was the perfect call, so close to the end zone, and it worked. I would get my first passing touchdown reception, which was going to look great on my huddle highlights and diversify me as a running back. Looking at the Placentia team, I could tell after that they were pretty much done. And we came out in the Wildcat, and I shouldn't even have to say the rest. But for the people who don't know by now, it was a touchdown. So much field in front of me, I had to take advantage. A 37-yard touchdown, and we were back on the board. After that, coach was back to running the ball down their throats, and I was more than happy to keep going. Back in the Wildcat, and it was the same result as all the other times I went into the end zone. But this time, I'm not gonna hold you, I was gassed. It's late in the game. I was too tired to make that extra burst into the end zone. And I know, unfortunately, that's something I need to work on. My pops and I, we try to get it in on the weekends, but sometimes we just don't have time. Life is hectic, what can I say? But we come back out and we actually end up scoring again. And I honestly didn't need that break. The momentum carried me over. By the end of the game, we had humbled the undefeated team, and I went off for 307 yards and 4 touchdowns, which would solidify me as a 4-star athlete going into the rest of the season. This was the moment I had been waiting for. I was a 4-star recruit, and the mail was piling up, and the scholarships were coming in heavy. About 10 schools offered me a scholarship, and this was only just the beginning for me. The seasons had changed, and it was starting to get a little cooler outside, which meant it was playoff football time. Now in the playoffs, we had to face off against a couple of teams that we had already beat. So this was just going to be a formality until we got to the state championship game. First game against Oceanside, it was business as usual. And you know you always got to stand on business. We end up scoring that first drive, and we are setting the tone for Oceanside, who has seen us and has had plenty of time to game plan for me. Like, I don't know how you can game plan for a big 6'1", 279 player coming full speed at you, but they tried their best, and I gotta tip my hat to them as I get back into the end zone, making the score 14-0. And of course, we do end up beating Oceanside in this round of the playoffs. Now we just gotta look forward to the state championship. Hopefully we can put our heads down and come up with a win. Now for the state championship, we faced off against Covina again, and I came out with a different intensity and mindset that I knew we weren't going to lose this game. I had to put on a show. And that's exactly what I did, or at least that's what I tried to do, right? Next play is the fake jet sweep again. And y'all already know what the consequences are when you go for the fake. But again, I'm so tired, man. The weight is weighing me down. I'm not moving as fast as I would want to, but the power is still there. And you know, this close to the end zone, I'm taking it in for a touchdown, breaking the ice on the 0-0. Letting Covina know that we did not come out here to mess around with these guys. And coach has been preaching, setting the tempo for a long time. Every game almost, that's all he talks about in the locker room. So that's what we came out here to do. I'm just glad that the team was on track and they believed in, they bought in to that mission. And now we're just driving even further down the field on the 7-yard line. And I'm going to take my time and get into the end zone again, carrying two people with me. It's starting to look like this was too easy. Now, I don't know what coach was thinking, but he kept putting me out there, having me carry the ball. You know, some plays work, some plays don't. And we were starting to get into that point where some of the plays didn't work. But that didn't bother me, man. First down after first down, I'm taking my time, looking out on the field, seeing what I have, what options I have available to me. Right here, coach drew up this play for me, specifically for the playoffs, and we ran it perfectly. Now again, anytime you see somebody in the motion, you know I'm getting the ball. I'm breaking a tackle, getting up the sideline, and listen, I was just getting started, man. I was just in my bag. Start of the fourth quarter, they trying to take me down in the backfield, and they cannot. And I'm just getting first yard after first yard. The amount of yards that I'm piling up in this state championship, I know that the scouts are watching. That is in the back of my mind, but winning is in the front of my mind. And coach calls the cheese play again. That's just what we call it in the locker room. And scoring this touchdown not only solidified us as champions, but it solidified me as one of the best running backs to ever do it. And just like that, we go on to win our first state championship since 1982. And I would love to think it was partially because of me. My name in the headlines in the Tribune, and I couldn't feel any better at that moment, especially considering after that playoff run, I went from a 3-star athlete to a 5-star athlete. My dreams had came true. I went from a nobody, no scholarships, not even sure if football was really for me, to a 5-star recruit. Multiple big name schools offered me a chance to impact their schools the same way I did at my high school. USC, West Virginia, and UCLA. Just some of the top names that were offering me a full ride, and everything seemed like it was going my way. But as I quickly learned, everything that glitters ain't gold. All the things he missed out on with the boys that he couldn't do while he was in the season. Unfortunately for the boys, the first thing on his agenda was fussing. He had to get at them for all the stunts that they pulled while he was away. Of course, this was the perfect time to give their mom a break, and she definitely enjoyed it. Second thing was to take the boys to the Puma office to officially